It's a popular way to pass the time during the pandemic, but these are no ordinary puzzles.
They were beautiful, really fun to put together, and I thought I could do that and bring something new.
She's given marginalized communities a voice. Now the community is voicing its support for her.
It's really a humble learning experience for me.
And they paddle for hours and hours to provide a bit of normalcy for those struggling to stay alive.
It's not a race. It's an event.
These stories and more next on CityStream. Hello, I'm Enrique Cerna. Welcome to CityStream from my living room here at Casa Cerna. A surge in new coronavirus cases has us spending more time at home. Now that might mean your house is cleaner, or not, or maybe you've been able to catch up on your favorite TV shows. And if you're like millions of others, perhaps you've been swept up in a craze that's captivated the country for the second time in 100 years. Producers Kathy Toohey and Valerie Vaza explain.
"2020 has brought us many surprises. Yes, we're in a pandemic, but one bright spot has emerged to provide us with a way to de-stress: jigsaw puzzling. In fact, the popularity of this hobby caught puzzle makers by surprise.
Before COVID, we had just kind of gotten out of the holiday season. Well, I think what we're gonna do is...
Meet Whitney Sheehan, owner of Bewilderness Puzzles in Woodinville.
All of a sudden, when people went through various stages of lockdown across the country and then across the world, orders started flooding in.
That's because puzzle shelves in stores were empty. And that's when the Bewilderness online business really took off.
Our sales went up about 400, 500% of a typical spring. I was hoping we were getting closer to something finished. Right. And now I'm kind of like revamping it.
After graduating with a math degree and working in tech for 10 years, Whitney wanted something more.
So that's where wooden puzzles came in. I'd always thought they were beautiful, really fun to put together, and I thought I could do that and bring something new to the wooden puzzle world.
Not coincidentally, the very first puzzles were made of wood.
John Spilsbury, a map maker in London, England, made the first commercially successful jigsaw puzzles in about 1760, 1770.
Renowned puzzle historian Anne Williams has written several books on the topic.
He took his maps and he pasted them onto thin wood. Then he cut them into pieces and sold them to the aristocracy in England so they could educate their children in geography.
More entertaining themes came along, like nursery rhymes and fairy tales. And by the 20th century, cardboard puzzles were mass-produced. Then in the 1930s, the Great Depression took hold of the country.
Unemployment went up to 25% nationwide, but in some cities it was 50%.
With little money to spend, people were looking for inexpensive entertainment.
It used to be crossword puzzles and backgammon and mahjong. Now it's jigsaw, and it's got the whole country steamed up.
By February of 1933, estimates from contemporary newspapers are that 10 million puzzles were going into American households every week. Given that there were only 30 million households, that's a very striking number.
The pandemic of 2020 brought a similar situation, with people confined to home, looking for a diversion.
It's a nice outlet for people to do.
We have our Seattle puzzle here today, the neighborhoods of Seattle.
Where do you see green light? You have to find things that you can do to try to keep things normal.
Which brings us back to how today's puzzle makers are keeping up.
We just started working way longer hours than we typically would work during the spring.
They also got a third laser cutter, hired more people, and moved to a bigger workspace. And they've been turning out puzzles as fast as they can to keep up with orders.
The cool thing about making puzzles with lasers is whatever you can dream up on the computer, you can make the laser cut it. This one is definitely our most popular puzzle. We cut this with the circle geometric pattern. It's kind of dark to be able to see this as the laser's cutting it, so we'll go ahead and show you what it's like just with the plain wood. After the puzzle comes off the laser, we air it out to get rid of the burning smell on the racks. From there, we do quality assurance and any necessary surgery on the puzzle.
All that precision isn't lost on puzzle enthusiasts. Wooden or cardboard, puzzles provide a tactile and visual experience.
You're starting with just a jumble of pieces and you're turning it into something beautiful, and it's a really nice way to still do something fun that's not looking at a screen.
I can't stop once I get started. I just have to put the next piece in and the next piece in and the next piece in.
My mom really likes to focus on the flowers. I like to just find one group and focus on that. She likes to do skies or something of similar colors, and then my dad just kind of walks around.
Another reason to do puzzles during a time like this is to feel like you can create some kind of order out of chaos, to solve a problem that's a little bit easier to solve, but not too easy. It's a fun business to be in.
Whether you're a newbie or a seasoned puzzler, there's nothing quite like finding that last elusive piece.
Well, good news. Jigsaw puzzles are back in stock just in time for the holidays. So go ahead and buy that 4,000-piece puzzle you've been secretly eyeing. Next on CityStream, she helps multicultural families access vital services. Now she's being honored for her accomplishments. Martin Luther King Jr. called it building the beloved community, a reference to a world where everyone joins together to end poverty, hate, racism, and homelessness. Each year, El Centro de la Raza's Legacy Awards honors those in our community who exemplify that spirit. We introduce you to one of this year's award winners, Ginger Kwan. Ginger Kwan says we all have a purpose in life. 11 years ago, she found her calling with the support of husband Victor and inspired by the love for her son Mikkel.
He has autism. I would say that he is the best teacher ever for me. I think I learned from serving him, and when I was serving him and also learning at the same time to serve others, I realized the greater needs are there in the community.
Ginger found a tremendous need in communities of color to help families that have loved ones with developmental and intellectual disabilities. In 2009, she created Open Doors for multicultural families to give them resources, services, and most importantly, a voice.
Because this population tend to experience inequitable resources, and they are marginalized and they don't have the capacity to access the service due to the culture or due to language barriers.
Open Doors breaks down those barriers with a multicultural staff that speaks more than 20 languages. They help families overcome stigma, provide vital information, educational opportunities, youth and employment programs, community events, and give hope for a better future.
And for that purpose, we create Open Doors because we believe every person has the potential.
As an example, Ginger points to her son, Mikkel. He graduated from high school and now holds 2 jobs. He's a runner, bikes, canoes, and rock climbs.
And what he takes is a village to support him. People care about him and believe in him and also expect him to excel. And we have seen so many youth who went through our youth program and they have developed a self-esteem and they did it. They graduated from school, they even go to college or they went to work. And so it's amazing to see how a person can change.
Ginger's passion and leadership stood out elsewhere in King County this year as she took an active role with the newly formed Racial Equity Coalition.
And it happens also across the board for these 15 organizations are all led by people of color. So whoever they serve are similarly to understand where they come from. And we come together, we address the inequity issues because we experience the same thing, yeah.
And she did a fabulous job in keeping this coalition together of people who had not worked together before and probably hadn't done a lot of multiracial work, and that's significant. You know, anytime you can pull people of all races together who continue to struggle together, that is something that should be known and recognized.
It is one more reason why the Roberto Felipe Maestas Legacy Award is being given to Ginger Kwan.
With this award, I feel like I can continue to lit the torch to those who come after me and those who I walked with and those who taught me, who has mentored me and who has shown a great example and things I can learn from them. So it's really a humble learning experience for me, yeah.
El Centro's Legacy Awards are named in honor of Roberto Maestas, founder of El Centro de la Raza. Maestas dedicated his life to building the beloved community. Congratulations again to one of this year's recipients, Ginger Kwan. Next, it's a grueling test of endurance, but participants say the payoff is worth the pain. The story of the 24 as CityStream continues. 2020 has been a year of immense challenges. The pandemic, a struggling economy, and social unrest. But as we head into the holidays, we're reminded we have much to be grateful for, and many good people who've helped us along the way. With that in mind, we bring you a special story of hope, resilience, and compassion. This is the story of the 24.
You know, it's finally here. It's Saturday, and the weather's a little miserable today, but we'll take it. People are showing up, all the boats, and it's cool. It's the 24.
So it's a 24-hour relay paddle. It's not a race. It's an event.
Thank you for being here. This doesn't work without all you guys saying yes, and it's pretty fantastic to be part of this community and part of what we got going on. It's also really cool to know that 26 places around the United States and Canada are doing this exact same thing today.
And each of those cities has multiple teams. Cancer isn't choosy, and it's for everybody. So many teams filled with young kids, adults, grandmas, grandpas, and diversity of craft. We have stand-up, I-prone paddle, we have OC, outrigger canoes. The whole purpose of it is to kind of bring people together and to do what they love.
I'm kind of amped up by today's events because this is important to us, and it's just exciting. It's nice to be back on the water too and be surrounded by so many people and friends.
There's 3 group paddles, 8 a.m., 11 p.m. leading up to midnight, and then we all finish together as a group at 7 a.m. the next morning.
First hour down, which is fantastic. Got everybody out on the water and kind of get the morning shakes out.
It was really lovely. It's like making up lost time on the water. 24 hours to do it.
After that first initial group paddle, it breaks down into pairs. So you have you and your buddy. You paddle for an hour, you come back, you tag in the next pair, and away they go.
It's good reflection, inward perspective time. Yeah, thinking about all my friends. Yeah.
People ask a lot, like, why 24 hours? And the reason is because it's not easy. And it requires everybody sort of coming together and helping. It's in by no means anywhere close to what the cancer experience is, but it's just like a small sliver of the terror of that. In 2013, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer.
It was surreal. I just could feel myself kind of, shaking a little bit, trying to figure out, it didn't register that what I'd heard was real, because it's not something that I ever thought that I would hear.
All of a sudden, the room sort of closes in on you. Sound disappears. You sort of hear your insides working. After we kind of got through that challenge, her neck went boop. And we went back to the doctor, and the doctor's like, let's just kind of take out that grumpy part of your thyroid. And the doctor came out about 30 minutes into the surgery, and she said we had to sew her back up because it's cancer again.
It rocked our world, for sure.
Paddling for me has been a place of peace and passion and reward. And I was sitting out in the middle of the lake one day after kind of hearing all that news, right? Because when someone says the word cancer, you're sitting on the other end of that word. And the only way I can describe it is, remember when you were a little kid and you would go down to the bottom of a pool and you'd be down there with your friends or whatever, and you'd play that game where like everybody would scream, right? Where you're like just screaming your guts out. And then you come up and no one heard anything. And it's tough, it's really difficult. And so being out on the water and paddling that day, I tried to figure out if there was a way to help people and to help families who were going through something similar.
You ready?
Before he goes.
Boom. Boom. Yeah, buddy. You're two. I love it. Right on, you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much.
There are wonderful organizations out there that do incredible things. There was one place where I felt like that felt a little neglected, and that was at that moment when cancer enters the conversation.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, when we found out the kids all had the flu, and then he never kicked his fever. And the fever never went away completely. He just started limping all the time.
I go right. You want to go right? Okay.
People kept talking, and you don't really register everything that they're saying because it's just like, wow.
You're numb from the situation.
Never thought that would be our family.
When you first get diagnosed, there's a lot of talk. And at that moment, you're not thinking about victory laps or cures or anything like that. You're thinking about, is this going to kill me? How am I going to pay the bills? My original thought was t-shirts and hats and all this stuff, and take a percentage of that and give it to families. It's a really long road to be able to make a difference. But with an event like the 24, it's like maybe we can just, go crazy for 24 hours and raise as much as we can, and then help on a bigger scale.
Starting to get dark. Starting to get a little tired. It's this is when things sort of shift over.
I think the adrenaline is kind of wearing off. I haven't had coffee yet, though. Okay, this is paddle number 5, I think. And we're past halfway.
The way that we do it is we take $1,000, put it in an envelope, and we make sure that it finds these families who need it. It's like an opportunity to be normal again for just half a second. You know, pay an extra bill, go to the movies, put gas in the car, things like that. Our first year we ended up, our goal was to raise $5,000, and we ended up raising $7,000. The second year we ended up raising $45,000. The third year we had 22 cities, and collectively as a group it was $152,000. With each of these cities, the money stays in that community.
When we found this envelope full of cash, everybody was starving, you know, and I think that we had a number of meals that people had donated, but they're like all in the freezer, you know, and some of them, the kids are like, oh, I don't want to eat that, that's weird or whatever. And I was like, let's order pizza. And that's what it brings, you know, it brings just a little bit of normalcy of like, you know what, things are, you know, rough right now, rough waters, but hey, we're with you, we support you. Jonas has been in remission for 1 year, and you know, that's just fantastic for us. But we also know that there's other families that are in different place.
You know, cancer has this unfortunate statistic of 1 in 3 people. And so, sadly, it's not difficult to find somebody who needs it. That midnight paddle, that's sort of an infusion of energy, you know, because there's like all these people who are they're excited to be out and participating, and you know, like this lights up.
I think it was serendipitous that we paddled last year with Team Bellingham. And it was like midnight, it was super cold. And then I remember that was last April, and then end of May, Q got his diagnosis, and it was a late Friday night. We were sitting in a small corner room in the ER of Everett Hospital, and I heard the word leukemia. It didn't register that it was cancer, or maybe it was just immediate denial. So I'm like, literally like 7 days later, Brian Smart walks in from Team Bellingham into the hospital room with a little amazing slashed envelope. I remember Googling one night at the hospital, and I don't recommend anyone Googling anything about any disease that they're diagnosed with, but my stomach dropped and I got really scared, and I panicked. And I think that was a moment. I don't think he realizes the probability of surviving this, or.
This is the most rewarding and heartbreaking thing all at the same time. There's some tough realities. The first year, those 7 envelopes that we gave out, 6 of those people passed away. You know, I think sometimes you get so focused on high-fiving and you know all of that you maybe forget a little bit about why you're there. And people really do need help. And this isn't messing around. This isn't, you know, a walk in the park for anybody. It's, you know, cancer scares people for a reason.
So I was there for the start, And then I get cold pretty easy since the transplant. So in my case, I got a double cord blood stem cell transplant. So from two different little girls. I lucked out.
That's it.
I really lucked out. And I've had Tron supporting me through this whole thing. There's people out there, I'm sure, that don't have people like her. I have no idea how I would have made it this far.
Looking good, gang! Looking good!
You know, this year in multiple places, there are envelope recipients who are coming to paddle.
For us, it's so meaningful and so important. And I know Q was a little worried about me doing this, running myself ragged and burning out, but that's just who I am. I feel like we had to do this. This is just meaningful to us.
It would be amazing if this idea sparked that kind of interest and desire in here for other folks.
I would say we do this, huh?
I don't know what it is, but there's something about the water and the type of heart it attracts.
All these guys, it's all donation, it's all free. Everybody's just giving and giving and giving, and nobody's getting a thing in return except for the satisfaction of helping other people.
It's like the bat signal. Troy puts a call out and all paddlers from all walks of life come like out of the woodwork from everywhere.
They do, or they'll go paddling in the mornings and pass the hat around and pop up with $400 or something to pass on the Santa paddle they've done. Somehow that's turned into people just coming and helping out. I mean, yeah.
It shows kind of the passion that Troy has, you know. It takes somebody to be pushing and driving and organizing, and he's the perfect person.
Ding ding. Let's call that 24 hours.
It's been a tremendous 24 hours. You know, surrounded by good people and friends, and we got people coming down to, you know, cheer us on, to bring us in.
I mean, the support, I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how important that's been.
It touches, I think, the people that are doing it as much, if not more, than the people that they're raising money for.
Inspire and help. That is the goal.
This year's 24 was canceled due to the pandemic, but last year the event raised more than $252,000. Organizers are hopeful they can get back on the water in 2021. We'll be right back. And that wraps up this episode of CityStream from Casa Serna. If you'd like to learn more about the great shows on the Seattle Channel, visit our website, seattle.gov, and click on Feature Shows. I'm Enrique Serna. Stay safe, stay healthy, wear your mask. Thank you for watching.